Hi there! So, do you ever wonder how in the world you're supposed to draw a background outline around a design element on a needlepoint canvas that seems to be just floating on your canvas? Well, that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Alrighty, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is take a peek at my canvas, Mardi Gras Santa by Carol Dupree Designs. And Mardi Gras Santa is literally just a design element in the middle of a piece of blank canvas. I'm going to show you some tips that I use in order to make drawing that outline a lot easier. Ready to take a peek? Here we have Mardi Gras Santa. And you can see that he's just simply a design element in the middle of a piece of blank canvas. So if I'm going to actually make him into something, I have to have a border drawn around him, whether it's an oval, a rectangle, or if I want to make him into a stand-up shape, it might have an arched top with a straight bottom. It doesn't really matter how you choose to draw the background around. There are just a few key measurements that I want to share with you on how to actually get the lines drawn onto the piece itself. Now, as you can see, this is already mounted on a stretcher bar frame. If I were going to be drawing this on here, I might take it off and have it flat on a hard surface. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to do it while he's mounted on this stretcher bar frame. So for starters, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down from the bottom of his boots about a half an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and put a sticky note about a half an inch below. So that's going to give me a bottom line from which to work. And then I'm going to also come up here to the top. This waist knot is kind of in the way, and it looks a little funny, so it's a little distracting. But here's the top of his crown right here. So I'm going to measure. I measured half an inch at the bottom, so I'm going to do a half an inch at the top, so that there are evenly distributed amounts of space between the top of the design element and the bottom of the design element. So we have a half an inch across the top, a half an inch across the bottom. Now the reason these are done like this, and I haven't drawn anything yet, is I may want to adjust something. So I have the flexibility to do that when I'm just making some rough marks with or not even marking, I'm actually just making some rough borders with these sticky notes. Alright, so I'm going to come out from the edge of his sleeve about an inch, and I'm going to put another sticky note there. So there's that. And because I want him to be centered, I'm going to come out well, let's see, what was that, an inch? I think it was an inch. Yep, an inch from there. I'm going to come out an inch on this side as well. So let me get another sticky note and put that in place. So now I have some parameters around which I know that I can work. All right, so if I were, and I'm going to grab a couple of pieces of just paper here. Let me pull off a few sheets of paper. So here we go. We'll just lay that over so that you can really get a good idea about what this is going to look like. All right, here is another. So I'll put that on top to hold that in place. And here's another one. So you really can get an idea about what the frame would look like, about what kind of background area I have that I'm going to be working within. Get one more little piece of paper here and put it up at the top and hold that down with a pair of scissors. All right, so now you can see the frame, how much space I would have to fill in with background. If I don't like the way this looks, if I think it looks off balance, if I need to move or adjust anything, then this is the time to do it. So if I, for example, wanted there to be less space at the bottom than there is at the top, so he doesn't continue to look like he's floating, in other words, to ground him a little bit more, I can shift this up just a hair, and that's going to make him look more grounded in the area in which is going to be worked for the background. You could also expand and pull this out just a little bit if you wanted to make it so that there's a little bit more space at the top. So if I wanted there to be just a tad bit more than half an inch at the top, maybe 3/4 of an inch, which is what this is, then that's going to give me, a little bit more. There's a tiny little bit of space at the bottom with a little more space above his head. So now he's looking more grounded in the area, in the square in which I'm going to be working the background pattern. You could also, if you wanted less space on the sides, you could come in and make it a little bit smaller if you wanted to. So say for example you wanted there to be, I don't know what that is, that may be about a half an inch right there. Yeah, it is. It's about a half an inch. So if you wanted less space on the sides and wanted him to be really more like an ornament shape, then you could certainly come in and make the sides narrower. So, but the main thing you want to make sure that you do, once you do bring in one side, you want to measure and make sure you have the same distance between the edges on each side. So there you have that. So you can adjust this, and once you've done that, once you've determined what your measurements are, that's then when you can pull out a blue marking pen and you can draw the lines. What I would do at this point, now that I know that I have a small, maybe 1/4 of an inch at the bottom and half an inch on each side and 3/4 of an inch at the top, then I can make a note and I can then use my blue water-soluble marking pen, which, by the way, if you make a mistake, you can use a wet paper towel or a damp paper towel and erase it, which is why I always use this. So if I wanted this to be 1/4 of an inch, then I could mark my line using the marking pen at that point, and that would make it the visible line that I could use to go by when I was working the background. And I would do that all the way around the perimeter of the piece. And that, my friend, is how you draw a background around a free-floating design element on a blank piece of canvas. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye for now.